Hey, what's up guys? I'm working on a 2014 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport with the 2.4 liter. Got a quick video on how to change the oil and filter, and I'll also replace the air filter. First thing you're gonna wanna do is go ahead and pop your hood. Go ahead and find your release tab here. You're gonna push up on that. Go ahead and lift up on your hood. Locate your oil fill cap here. We'll go ahead and pull that off, so just untwist that. And then you wanna take note, you can see that this calls for 5W20. So this car does have quite a bit of ground clearance, so I'm going to show you how you can do this without even having to jack it up. So what you want to do is crawl underneath the front of the vehicle here. You got this large skid plate here, but luckily Hyundai gives us access to the oil filter, which is going to be right here. It even says on here, oil filter cap. But you want to go back to the further one here. There's an opening right here that says engine oil. You also want to grab a pan that's capable of holding at least 5 quarts, a 17mm wrench, and then of course a rag. So you got this little access door. Like I said, it says engine oil on it, and then you got 2 tabs right here. So what you're going to do is just squeeze in on both of those, and then you're going to pull down, and this is going to slide towards the back of the car and pull that out. And then that gives us access to our oil drain plug here. So I'm trying to get you guys the best camera angle, but as you can see, this is going to be our drain plug here. Like I said, it's 17mm. So until we grab our wrench, we'll break that free, and then we'll get our drain pan under here. So when you're facing the front of the car, you kind of just got to go off a feel. So grab your wrench here, get that on there. Let's see if we can break this free. Once you get it broken free, you can usually spin it out by hand here. So get your oil pan ready to collect that oil. Twist that drain plug off. And we'll go ahead and let that drain. So once that gets down to just a slow drip like that, we can go ahead and replace our drain plug. Now you want to take a look, make sure you still got that washer on the drain plug. Make sure that didn't fall off. A lot of guys will replace this and put a new one on. I've never had an issue reusing these with any leaks, so that's kind of up to you. But let's go ahead and stick this back into the oil pan here. Twist that on by hand. We'll grab our 17mm wrench. And I'll get my drain pan out of here, give me a little more room. And we'll get this snug. Now if you want to, if you can fit a torque wrench on here, the torque for this is going to be 29 foot-pounds. But I like to just get it nice and snug. And I've never had a leak from that. So then just kind of wipe off the drain pan here, or your oil plug and all that. Get any of that excess oil off of there. And now we can move on to the oil filter. So now you can locate your oil filter cap here. So you got 3 tabs on this, and you got to kind of push in on them as you pull down. Once you do that, you can see there's a little lip there. You're going to pull outward on that. And that gives us access to our oil filter right here. So I'll move my camera here so you can see. You can see right up in there, there's our oil filter. Now I'm going to try to unscrew this by hand. If it is too tight, you can use the cap adapters. You can get those on Amazon, super cheap. They just hook up to a socket wrench, and you put it on the bottom of the oil filter and you untwist it off. So I'll put a link in the description for those. But let's go ahead and see if we can get this off by hand. So get your oil pan slid under there so it doesn't make a mess. Hopefully you guys can still pick this up on the camera. Make sure you got a rag handy as well. We'll reach up in here and I'll try to twist this off. And this one is actually pretty tight. There it goes. So we can get it unscrewed here. I'll twist it off a little bit because oil is going to come out of it. So I'll just go slowly there. You can see the oil coming out. Let that drain for a second here so it just doesn't get all over my hand. We'll go ahead and twist it off the rest of the way here. Just make sure you're holding on to that because it will drop on you, just like that. That's what you don't want to do, because now it got on the skid plate here, but that's okay, we can wipe it up. But now our oil filter's off, and then just make sure this black gasket came off with it as well. So now let's take a look at the oil and then also the oil filter I'll be using. I got all this off Amazon. I'll put links in the description for it. The oil filter is going to be the Fram Ultra Synthetic XG9688. And then the oil, so this calls for, it's either 4.9 or 5.3 quarts. So I went ahead and just bought a 5-quart jug and then a single quart jug of this Valvoline high mileage full synthetic 5W20. So just go ahead and open up your new oil filter here. We'll turn this upside down, and then we'll open up our oil here. I'm just going to open up the 5-quart one just in case we don't use this 1 quart. But let's go ahead and just stick a finger in here. Just get a little bit of fresh oil on here, and we'll just coat this black gasket here for the oil filter. Just get a nice clean coat of oil on there. And then just take your rag. I'm going to clean up all along where the oil filter gasket goes. So just wipe that up all along there. And I'm just kind of going off a feel here. So wipe that up. And I also went ahead and just cleaned on the skid plate here. I wiped all this oil from when I dropped the oil filter in here, because you don't want that leaking on your driveway or anything. So make sure that's all clean. Grab your new oil filter here. And let's go ahead and screw that on. Get that screwed on, and now you just want to go hand tight with this. You don't want to use any pliers or your oil filter wrench socket. Just go nice and hand tight, and you'll be fine. So for right now, I'm going to leave the access doors off of the oil pan and then also the oil filter here. That way, once we start it, we can crawl back underneath here and just make sure we don't have any leaks. So now we can go ahead and fill it. So grab a funnel there. And according to the owner's manual, it says if you have the yellow dipstick, it's going to be 4.9 quarts. Or if you have the red dipstick, it's going to be 5.3 quarts. But as you can see, this dipstick is actually orange. So I'm assuming maybe this was red at one time. So this is probably going to be the 5.3 quarts. But just to be safe, I'm just going to add the 4.9. We'll start it, make sure we don't have leaks, and then we'll shut it off. We'll let the oil drain back down in the pan. We'll check our level. And then if we need to add some to bring it up to that 5.3, we will. So we'll go ahead and add the 4.9 quarts out of this 5-quart jug. So pretty much to where it's almost empty. And sometimes you want to go kind of slow on these, just so that doesn't leak out below the funnel there. Sometimes if you dump too much oil in there, it'll leak out. Okay, so I'm going to say that's probably about 4.9. You can see there's barely anything in the bottom of that. So we'll go ahead and try that there. Once that drains all down in there, grab your funnel here. Try not to make a mess. I like to just stick this back in the container here. Grab your cap. Let's go ahead and screw that on. So now we'll go ahead and start it, and then you want to pay attention down here. You got a oil pressure light there. You want to make sure that goes out after you start it. You see right there. So that went out. So just crawl underneath here, check your oil filter, make sure you're not leaking any oil there. And then also your oil drain plug there. You can see we're not dripping any oil there. So we should be good. So then you can go ahead and shut it off here. And we'll go ahead and let that drain back down into the pan there. We'll give that a few minutes. That way we get an accurate reading. While we wait for that oil to drain down, let's go ahead and get our doors put back on here. So for your oil filter, you're just going to stick that in there. And then just go ahead and press up. You may have to kind of bend this back just a little bit just to make sure those click into place so that doesn't fall on you. And then also your oil pan one. So that one's going to go... The lip's going to go towards the front of the vehicle here. And and then just pop that one into place. So while we're still waiting for that oil to drain down, let's go ahead and replace our air filter really quick here. Super easy on these. Just pull back on these two clips here, lift this up a little bit, and then bring down the door here. And then you can pull this out. There's your old air filter. You can see this one wasn't too bad, but if you really look in there, you can see there's quite a bit of stuff, debris in there. So the new air filter I went with is going to be the Wix 49670. I got this off Amazon as well, so I'll put a link in the description for it. Go ahead and pull this out. And if you notice on here, it kind of goes at an angle where it gets larger. So you want that larger end pointing downward. So grab this, go ahead and slide this in. Slide that down in there. And then you're going to bring your door, get this slid over top of it. Grab the clips. That's all there is to that. So now let's check our levels, see where we're sitting at. So pull your dipstick out here. Just give it one good wipe. Go ahead and stick it back down in there. Make sure it bottoms out. Pull it back up here. And if you notice, you got a full indicator, so the F is going to be that top dot, and you got a low indicator, that bottom dot there. So it looks like we're right at the bottom dot, so we definitely need to add some more here. So go ahead and grab your funnel. Go ahead and add some. I'm just going to add the rest of this 5-quart jug here. And then I'll go ahead and try to add about 0.3 out of this quart here. Okay, so I'll give that probably about 5 minutes, just so I can let that drain down and we can get a good accurate reading on it. Okay, so I gave that about 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and check our level here. Give it a good wipe again. Go ahead and stick that back down in there. Pull it out. And if you notice here, you can see, it'll focus. You can see we're right at the top mark there because this is all filled up. You can see there's a little excess right here, but that's just from it running down. But right there, we are right at 5.3 quarts. I'll stick that back down in there. And you can see it's about what I used out of the 1-quart jug there. So get your funnel out of here. Go ahead and replace your fill cap here. Make sure that clicks. And one last thing you want to do is go ahead and reset the oil life light. So go ahead and turn it on a couple clicks without turning on the engine. And if you notice, it says service required there. So what you're going to do is go ahead and click on this button here until you get to service required. And then you're going to go ahead and hold the arrow here. So press that and hold it. And then that should reset. You can say service in. And then release. And there we go. That's all there is to it. So just go ahead and start it just to make sure it's off now. You can see now the service required is not coming up anymore. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for the video. Again, this was a 2014 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport with the 2.4 liter. Went ahead and showed you how to change the oil and then also the air filter. Pretty simple to do on these cars. And as you guys saw in the video, you do not have to jack it up. You have plenty of clearance to get under there and change the oil. So hopefully this video helps you out. If it does, hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.